regulation, that's something that you have dealt with a lot of. Maybe not your favorite part either. You are currently a part of a lawsuit by the SEC. They sued you. This is old news by now, but they sued you in 2020 alleging that XRP is a security. You have taken the unusual step of fighting back versus going for a settlement. I won't go too much into the play-by-play, but give us an update in terms of what is happening now. You have said that, or at least your legal counsel has said that they expect a resolution by 2023. Does that still feel like that's the case?
I think that definitely feels like the case. I mean, look, it's incredibly frustrating to be a citizen of a company based in a country that is behind almost every other country in providing clarity around crypto. I mean, even here in Canada, Canada has approved a Bitcoin ETF. The US has not. I think there's so many examples where the US has been out of step with other G20 economies. And again, I'm not talking about random, small countries. I'm talking about like major economies who are providing that clarity and certainty. As you described, the Securities Exchange Commission sued Ripple saying that our sales of XRP were investment contracts. It's a kind of a nuanced point, and to your point, we fought it. I think it is so important to fight it, not just for Ripple, but for the whole industry. The SEC, I think, is a hammer, and when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And the current chair of the SEC has said he thinks probably everything except for Bitcoin is a security. That's a pretty bold statement. I think it would be very negative for the US crypto industry, and it's the reason why I think a lot of people are moving outside the United States to build and invest in or speculate in various crypto projects.
Do you ever see yourself as a non-US company, right? Like you're hiring a lot outside of the US. Do you ever see yourself as a non-US domiciled business?
It should not be lost upon you that Canada is not the US, and we're opening a big office here. Look, I mean, it's like any industry. It's like any company. If the country you're based in is making it hard for you to be successful, you go other places. I mean, on a percentage basis, our growth is much more outside the United States than in the United States. 95% of our customers are non-US companies. So, look, we're going to continue to invest where we know what the rules are. Even though there are a lot of libertarian roots around crypto, my experience is most actors in crypto want to play by the rules. But we have to know what the rules are. And at the SEC, going back to one of the things you asked earlier, they have been fighting us on the disclosure of certain documents. So this is an entity, by the way, which keep in mind what the SEC does. They demand disclosure from the companies they regulate. And they won't disclose anything. They had a judge 14 months ago, tell them they need to disclose the notes associated with this very famous speech that happened 4 years ago saying that Ether is not a security. What are they hiding?
Yeah.
Like, why? It's been 14 months and they're still fighting to hide those notes.
So walk us back a little bit. Tell us why that particular speech was so
important,
significant for you, because you're not Ether, you're XRP. But why does that matter for you?
Well, so I'm Ripple. We use XRP. But look, in June of 2018, a director of corporate finance at the SEC named Bill Hinman gave a speech that was well known in the crypto industry because it really was the first time the SEC came out and said, Ether's not a security, and the reason it's not a security is because it's decentralized. I viewed that, and actually, now there's an email that the SEC has that I read that and I sent an email to the team like, this is good news. If you look at that measurement stick, that's clear that XRP is not a security. Like, let's keep building. And now the SEC is well, first of all, they no longer will say ETH is not a security. The current chair, you ask him and he won't comment, which I don't know how you have one administration what are the rules? Let's just be clear about the rules. So for Ripple, I think that speech was important. I think for the industry, that speech is important. It does go back to Ripple's fighting this fight, not just for Ripple, but because the whole industry needs the certainty. The whole industry needs the clarity. If we want the United States, the largest economy in the world, to be a major player in crypto, we need this clarity and certainty. And so far, I'm very happy with how the court case has gone. Certainly, I wish it would have gone faster, to your point, around 2023. But we are fighting every step to make it go as quickly as possible.
Okay, so I do have a question for the audience. I am curious, and this is tied to what we've been talking about in the past 15 minutes. what percent of you to start off with? Well, raise your hand, actually. I'm sorry. Raise your hand if you currently own cryptocurrency of some kind. Okay, so that's
80%.
80%. Okay, I'll say 70 because it's like 70, 80%. Okay, among those who do own cryptocurrency, how many of you think that most cryptocurrencies are securities?
Oh, we got a few hands.
There's a few.
Maybe five hands?
Not a lot. Okay, so...
No, let's pause on that just one second, because I think that's interesting. So to be a security, that means, the way law works, it means you get right, title, and interest of the ownership of the company. So think about that. So if you buy ETH, do you get right, title, and interest in the company consensus? If you buy XRP, do you get to vote on who the board of directors is at Ripple? You and I talked a little bit backstage about this. Ripple did a Series A financing, we did a Series B financing, we did a Series C financing. The board of directors is voted on by our shareholders. XRP holders are not our shareholders. So when I hear people say, well, these are securities, I'm like, well, by kind of the normal legal definitions, they don't fit very well. You might argue there's something new and different. I think it's very clear these are mostly commodities, and I think should be regulated as such.
Yeah.